There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because Super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 3 of season 10 of the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 series, coming here tonight from Le Mans in the middles of southern France. I'm John Van Ree. With me tonight I have Mark Duggan. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, very good, John. Back from holidays. Didn't realise we were already up to round 3. Le Mans, love this track, driving it myself personally. Always had a good run here. So very high speed. Should be entertaining race, I think, as long as we can keep some groups together.
Yeah, definitely a big track, known well for its draft mentality. Let's just throw up the track so everyone can have a look at it. As you can see, very, very famous circuit, well known by many. And we start on the start-finish straight and run through the Dunlop curve into the Dunlop chicane, and then up, down through the hill into the S's. And then we go through Tertre Rouge onto what is known as the Mulsanne Straight. And we go past the KFC, which most boys always mention to me. And then into the first chicane, very high speed into that one. And then we accelerate out of there again into the second chicane down the straight. And then we complete our turn down the straight into the Mulsanne corner, where we then head down to Indianapolis and through Anage. And then we come up through the left to right Porsche curves complex into the Corvette curves, where it finishes up at the Ford chicane, where we go across the start-finish line again. This circuit, very famous, of course, for the 24-hour race that is held here quite regularly. Plenty of movies have been done about this place. Plenty of dreams have been revealed and plenty of nightmares have come true. So I'm interested to see what our boys get up to this evening as we try to battle this place.
Yeah, absolutely, John. It's a very interesting tracks in terms of how steady you got to be on the throttle in through all the chicanes, and how hard you got to be on the pedal in the straights. It's a kind of two-world track, this one. Some very slow speed stuff. Obviously you're running low wing, so makes the chicanes and everything very tricky to keep the car planted. So precision on the brake pedal and precision on your throttle application in the slower sections is essential.
Yeah, absolutely is. And of course, this is round 3. They've got 12 rounds this season, 2 drops. So these boys need to skedaddle a bit with how they go about and build a championship. Let's just have a look at the point structure we've got at the moment. So at the moment, we've got Scott Gamble leading the series with the 2 good race results in 351 points ahead of Jacob O'Reilly. Damien Johnstone in 3rd. Ty Delaney, the minnow from Fishy Motorsport, sitting in 4th overall. That is a fantastic result for him. Anthony Visma in 5th. Zachary Vlasbom from Vermeulen Motorsports in 6th. Timmy Mulford from Phoenix in 7th. Greg Sharp from WK&P in 8th. Jamie McKnight in 9th from Fishies. And Alan Dawson in 10th, rounding out the top 10 of the overall splits. If we start to drill a bit deeper, break that down into our pro drivers: Scott, O'Reilly, Johnstone, Delaney, Vlasbom, Bismarck, Dawson, James Scott after dropping last week, with Dylan Rudd as well. Jordan Ross back in 10th, so still plenty to play for those boys with the 2 drop rounds. And then into our Super 2 drivers, Timmy Mulford gets the points now over Jamie McKnight by 3. Greg Sharp just sitting 7 points back from the lead in 3rd. Stephen Lawrence in 4th. Stephen Tonkin in 5th. Dave Coleman from Fishy in 6th. 7th is John Fillingham from Veterans Gaming Australia, with Matthew Shanahan from Veterans Gaming Australia in 8th. And then we drop into Troy Stone Street and Russell Gander. And in the vets category, it of course is Gamble, Sharp, Fillingham, Troy Stone Street in 4th, Brian Minogue, Russell Gander, Reggie James from WK&P, Jamie McKnight in 8th, and Sean McNamara in 9th. Scotty Van Loon, who's not with us tonight because of work commitments, in 10th. So that rounds out our leaderboard.
Yeah, some pretty interesting stats there, John, on the leaderboard. Obviously, we've got a few people who haven't done all the rounds, so the board's a little bit mixed up, but that will even itself out over the season. So the boys have just jumped out of the pit lane to commence their qualifying, so I guess we should focus on these boys on track.
Yes, of course, 4 and a bit minute lap to get around here, all in qualifying, so they get the opportunity of starting in the Corvette curves. But we'll see how this plays out. These guys rolling around. And brings me an opportunity to try and sort out a couple little SDK issues. But the draft here will be extremely important tonight, starting, of course, with qualifying.
Yeah, it could quite possibly be a race that you don't want to be leading early on. You want to just follow whoever is leading and just stay in their draft and try and save some fuel. That'll be a pretty big tactic tonight, I think.
Yeah, that would be the way you'd be looking at running it. Let's have a look, bit of a look back through. So we've got a couple of new drivers tonight. Martin Lofthouse, this is his first race in the series with the JWM boys. Great to see a few more of those guys coming into the league. Of course, quite well known as a team in vets, but starting to get more and more guys into East Coast, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely great to have a few teams spreading their wings and getting out into a few different series that run different formats. So best way to learn is to get out there and try different formats, different track temperatures, open setups, fixed setups. Really got to spread your wings and get out there and get amongst it to learn as much as you can about this car. And I guess one thing we're going to probably see later this year, hopefully, is the Gen 3 V8 get released by iRacing at some point.
Yeah, that would be quite good to see. Big shout out to Sean McNamara, complimenting on your lovely voice, mate. And Rusty Gander, watching, should be out racing.
Yeah, big hello to Sean, thank you. And yeah, Russell Gander, why aren't you in here, mate? You should be in here. But appreciate you dropping in to
watch, yeah.
Anyway.
No, his PC's out. That's not great. Anyway, hopefully he'll be back soon. Just jump on up here. Got Robert Bridges. Scuba Racing. Running the Thirsty Devils Brewery logo on the side of the car. So a micro brewery here in Albury. For those who don't know who Thirsty Devil is. Sean McNamara, I love it. Best looking hair in sim racing, Sean McNamara. Gets the vote from me.
Make many men jealous.
Oh, yeah. It's just going to roll through, have a look at a few more guys. Troy Stone Street. Be interesting to see what he can do. He had a couple of rough races over the last fortnight, so he'd be looking to get himself back up on the board. And Timmy Mulford, he's in the middle of this Oh, someone coming into the pits. That's Mulford. Interesting. As a few of these guys start their lap. That's Coleman coming around the curve at the end. Here we go. James Scott, our reigning champion, starts his 4-minute lap around the Le Mans circuit. And you can see you got this such long straightaways, but we do have small pockets of the circuit that are very technical. A good exit here sets you up. Of course, about a minute and a half off Gamble, so probably just close enough where he might be able to get a bit of a slipstream out of him. Visma nicely tucked up behind.
Yeah, definitely want to pick the car to follow around here in qualifying to get a good slot on the grid. Jacob O'Reilly out front at the moment, leading away for the field. He's followed closely by his teammate Zach Glassbomb, so they're heading down one of the straights. So many straights here, I can't remember which one's which.
It's basically the run to Indianapolis, which is after the Milestone Straight, which is just got 2 chicanes in it. As you can see, speeds at 303, 304. So massive speeds. Got to pull the car up. You call it a chicane, but you're still going through it at 110 kilometres an hour. And powering back down the raceway again. So definitely in the Indianapolis, the little king. It's amazing you use those cones out on the left as your brake markers, but it's funny how many guys actually clip them. So when you come through, you don't have a marker. James Scott gambling sights there. I reckon that gap has closed.
Yeah, without a doubt he'll be picking up a toe and just getting quicker and quicker the closer he gets.
Yeah, it started a second and a half. He's now got it down to half a second in Indianapolis. James Scott here, definitely getting the double toe macca.
Yeah, Scotty Gamble tucked up in behind Dylan Rudd as well, so these boys are all going to come together now, so hopefully it's not going to affect their lap time. James Scott might have wanted a little bit more distance coming towards the end of the lap here, but he's tucked up right underneath Scotty Gamble now.
There's 10 in race apparel, getting a good little bit of advertising there.
Saw Dylan Rudd run wide there, so he's going to have to start again. He's going straight to the pit lane.
To the final part of the 4th chicane. And Scott with a 3:52.2. And he is 4/10 faster than Gamble, so it paid off for him.
He's actually a second and a half, or 1.3 seconds quicker than Gamble, and 8/10 quicker than Jordan Ross at the moment.
Yeah, wow.
Well, Jacob O'Reilly in 4th place, followed by Anthony Visma, Greg Sharp, Choi Stone Street, Martin Lofthouse, Steve Tonkin, Reggie James doing a good job.
Reggie on the board. And a few big names not to have a time in the book yet. Brenton Hobson. He's just coming out onto the circuit here. So he's got a bit of work to do. Dylan Wright, as we saw, came off earlier. Alan Dawson missing the front half of his car there, so I'm not sure what happened to Dawson. What was Alan Dawson I clicked on? Who was that coming in? Yeah, Alan Dawson. Don't know what's showing James Scott. SDK being slow again. Yeah, so not sure what's happened to Dawson there. There's a WK&P car with an engine blown. That might have been Stone Street. So look at the replay here. And into the wall, yep. That's good for the engine. And just go back. Alan Dawson had an off track, but nothing untoward with that, I think. Stoney, definitely a long way to go back with a broken engine. So he might be in trouble for the rest of quali. He's got that time in 7th. We'll see if he can get back in time. And SDK still not playing the game properly. So a few other names that haven't set a time. Timmy Mulford. Of course, extra large qualifying time. I think the boys got an extra 5 minutes tonight. Not sure what's going on with that one either. Definitely some interesting things going on with a few of these lads. Of course, that time ticking down. It's got some SDK gremlins again. So a few of these boys are still yet to come out and do their second lap. We expect them to do. Big Sharp rolling into the pit lane. Most of our top cars still already in the pit, and we've still got Troy Stone Street trying to get his way back after that collision into the wall. That car still rolling. Checking some settings. All looks all right. Sure what's going on with that one, but anyway. Troy in a little bit of trouble. James Scott heading back out to set his, what I would call his second lap. So these guys here, keep an eye on them. Looks like he has a few boys behind him. Right, plenty of room around this place for everybody. Just keep an eye on these boys playing a bit of ducks and drakes here. Trying to get out of the way of the car coming through. tucked up behind. So on the outlap, these guys will have one more shot at this. Just trying to sort out what's going on with my SDK. There we go. It stays put, so you can see everyone on an outlap. Greg Sharp still in pits. Roy Stone Street still hasn't got back to pit lane, so he may find himself falling short of time here, I think, to get another lap time in. New car's getting out of the way of the lead bunch. SDK not enjoying it. Let's try going to this box. And these lads on an outlap here for those playing along at home.
I've got to stop and go, James. So I'm not doing my lap.
A little live timing in the screen for everybody. And Mark just having a little bit of technical difficulties as well, as long as my SDK. What we will do, we'll do a restart between races, or between practice and the race. And I've just put in the live chat for everyone at home, the live timing, so they can see at least what's going on themselves as the boys come across the start-finish line to start their flying lap. It's John Fillingham moves himself up into 11th. And James doing quite well here. We might just jump back on. John Fillingham, as we said, just got himself across into 11th. Reg James sitting in 12th at the moment. Timmy Mulford, he's about to get his lap going. And James Scott by himself, so no one to slipstream around in that lap he's doing at the moment. And Jordan Ross by himself, Scott Gamble by himself as well. So I feel these lads not getting close enough to get advantage of a tow on this one. And apologies for the timing not working.
Not sure what's going on with
What?
Nice.
You're back?
Oh, I'm back. There
Yep.
we go. I just rebooted Discord and here we go. in the final seconds of qualifying now, only 20 seconds to go. James Scott, Jordan Ross, Scotty Gamble, Jacob O'Reilly, Anthony Visma, Greg Sharp, Troy Stonestreet, Martin Lofthouse, Steve Tonkin, Stefan Lawrence is your top 10 at the moment.
Yep, all of them doing quite well.
Brenton Hobson, no time. Ty Delaney, no time. Dylan Rudd, no time. So some big names back there. Zach Blasbom as well. So if they don't get a lap in this time round, they will have to make their way through the field, which I'm sure they will with the draft round here.
Yeah, you'd be thinking they could. Let's see if this works for us. Yes, that is the same thing. Yep, definitely not an easy track to nail. And tonight, not an easy track with SDK having some issues.
Just on board with Dylan Rudd there. He's got to 306 kilometres an hour down the Mulsanne Straight without a tow. So just goes to show you how high speed this circuit is.
Dylan absolutely flying. Let's get rid of that. You can see still even doing 290 coming down into corner. Now heads down towards Indianapolis. Yes, good comment there, Stuart. Well, boys. Sure, the race control lads will be taking note of that. Few cars not running the right banners this evening. Dylan absolutely flying here. A bit wide, hopefully not a 1X there. Quite easy to pick up 1Xs around this place. Coming into the forward chicane. Rights the curb nicely. Where does this put Dylan? Only jumped him in the ninth mark.
Yeah, well, he was solo that whole lap. He didn't pick up a tow off anyone, so probably lost, half a second or more, not getting a tow from anybody. So a couple of little bits where he's a little bit skatey too. So looked like they've run a pretty low wing on that car and didn't like some of that slow speed stuff. But we know what a quality driver Dylan is, and I'm sure he'll make his way forward from there.
Yeah, interesting to see what he can do. As I'll just click this one more time. I can get this to come back. Come back by itself. There we go. Let's see. Have a bit of a look here. We can see we've got James Scott on pole from Scott Gamble, followed by Jordan Ross, Jacob O'Reilly, Anthony Visma. Greg Sharp leads out our Super 2 boys. Great result for Greg. Right, it's Troy Stonestreet, then Brenton Hobson, Dylan Rudd in 9th, Martin Lofthouse in 10th, Timmy Mulford 11th, and then we've got Steve Tonkin, Stefan Lawrence John Fillingham, Matthew Shanahan, rounding out that group of drivers. So after Fillingham, we've got Shanahan, Coleman, Reg James, and then Ty Delaney, Alan Dawson, Brian Minogue, Jesse Griffiths, Zach Vlasbom, and Robert Bridges didn't set a time. So that is where we're at with the state of play at the moment.
So current championship leader Scotty Gamble doing a good job there to be on the front row. He's gonna have a lot of pressure coming from behind from Jordan Ross and Jacob O'Reilly. Also great to see Anthony Vismer and Greg Sharp up there as well, and Troy Stonestreet flying the flag for the V8 veteran boys.
Yeah, some good results across the field there. So I'm interested how they all go. Still a long way to go around this place. Hey, we're here for, of course, the 15 laps, 2 compulsory pit stops. I'm interested what these lads get up to with that one, as we still just wait for this server to trickle over. Won't be too much longer. These guys still just sitting on track. And I think that is just ticked over now. Let me have a grid. On SDK, play the game.
15 laps doesn't sound like much, but it's still an hour of racing around here, so will still be pretty exciting. It'll probably feel like each lap's forever for these boys, but once they get going, I'm sure they'll have a blast.
Apologies for this one. It is definitely not playing the bloody game for me. So there we go, we've got the cars there. Just hear the aircraft just go overhead.
Yeah, I was about to say, sounds like the Air Force is doing their flyby.
On the Zachary Vlasbom's nose, you can see the red, white and blue of the French flag going off in the distance there. So we have got an extended grid, but I have got SDK and OBS not working together. Doesn't do one thing, it doesn't do the other. Apologies for this, everybody. What I might do when we get going is tricky. So we'll at least be able to show you some positions as we get going. And jump up onto Scott Gamble again. This is annoying. We are about to go. Lights. We're green flag, we're away. Great start from James Scott. Someone stalled up the back there. Looks like they've got themselves going all out of harm's way, but Scott has got the jump on it. Gamble's going to go in toe-to-toe with Jordan Ross into that first corner. As we just continue on here.
Dylan Rudd with a great stop, already up 3 places after a couple of corners.
Done quite well. Just going to do a little dodge here, mate, so you can get yourself out of trouble. So just please bear with us at home. Occasion.
I did hear Zach Vlasbom on the race channel calling for race control to review an incident. He's plummeted all the way back to the back of the grid, and he'll be trying to desperately hang on to the back of this group to pick up a tow so we can get back in touch.
Yeah, long way to come back if you're in trouble here.
Not a place we get a lot of safety cars either, John, unless we get a car expire in the middle of the track somewhere, but generally not a place where we do see a lot of safety cars.
Definitely the circuit where we don't get too much in the way of that. So hopefully this isn't going to be too cumbersome. That gives everyone at least a chance to see what is going on. As James Scott leads from Scott Gamble, Jordan Ross, Jacob O'Reilly, Dylan Rudd, Brenton Hobson, Anthony Bismarck, Sharp, Stone Street in 10th. He's lost 2 spots. Lofthouse hasn't moved any. Mulford, Billingham up 2, Tonkin, Coleman, Lawrence. That gives us a look at that top list at least.
O'Reilly just ran wide at Indianapolis there, allowing Dylan Rudd to get back through. So Dylan's already up 5 spots into P4. So Dylan mastering lap 1 so far.
Definitely, what I'm going to do is swing this over this side here, and then I can just have the board there. We might be able to show a few more names. That's about it. Shit. It's not going to work for me either. You can see the board there. As we finish our first lap. It is James Scott leading from Scott Gamble, Jordan Ross, Dylan Rudd. Some battles a bit further back. Might just jump on quickly, have a look at Stephen Lawrence, Matt Shanahan and Ty Delaney. Ty just eking his way through. So I got that on the screen. Hopefully it stays. Delaney in a good little battle here, sitting 16th. Of course, a few lads moving forward. Lofthouse got himself up into 9th already. A great little start from him, putting a bit of pressure on Stone Street here. 2 cars wide, very close. Stone Street forced out wide. Let's see how these two go. Looks like Stone Street with a little bit more of a run. Delaney in the mix of this as well. Hobson, sorry. That's Hobbo coming through the mix.
Sorry there, John. It looked like Hobbo picked up a slowdown and had to back right off coming down the Mulsanne straight, but he's able to pick up 2 of them spots straight back. So good work there from Hobbo.
Yeah, he'd be pretty happy with that. Once that gets him up into 8th. Dave Coleman now still battling pretty hard with Lofthouse as well. There's a little bit further back. There's a few good battles down the back with this group here at the moment. The leaders have all spread out a little bit. A bit wide in the background. It's going to go check on Stone Street. side by side with Hobson now. Stoney tucks in behind. Down in Indianapolis. Very deceptive corner with the amount of banking that's actually on the track there.
Yeah, a lot of these slow speed corners are very tricky on this track because generally you're running a pretty low wing, so car doesn't like exiting slow speed corners. So just looking at Martin Lofthouse struggling a little bit. It looks like he's down on a little bit of straight line speed, so maybe he's run a bit higher wing than everybody else.
Yeah, that could be the case. Make it a little bit easier for him through this section of the circuit, but of course will hurt going down the Milestone Straight. And doing reasonably well there. And just going to have a quick look at an accident with Robert Bridges. Not sure what happened with him early on. Supercheap Auto replay. Looks like it's coming down in Indianapolis. A little bit hot, and the car goes around, keeps it off the wall, done pretty well there. Of course, loses his teammate, and something else is going on in the background then. Not sure who that was. Dave Coleman, I think. Go Supercheap Auto replay there real quick. Coleman sideways on the track. Not Coleman. Not sure who that was. Mulford, I think. Or Fillingham, sorry. Sideways on the track. Fillingham getting past Coleman. So, yeah, definitely a few mistakes happening from a few of the lads, Mark.
Yeah, Dave Coleman struggling as well. Looks like he's suffering some overheated tyres badly there.
Yeah, he'll definitely be suffering that for a little bit, looking at the marks left on the track. As we jump on with Anthony Visma. He's sitting in 7th place at the moment. Greg Sharp tucked up behind him. Sharpie sitting in 7th, leading our Super 2 cars. He's pretty chuffed with himself at the moment.
Yeah, I just had a quick look at Coleman's incident. Looked like he ran into the back of Brenton Hobson there. I'm not sure if Brenton had a slowdown and had eased off the throttle, and Dave just didn't pick up what was going on by the look of it, and just grabbed the anchors and slid into the back of
Hobbo.
Brenton Hobbo, yeah, and Hobbo's now lost his boot, so he'll be able to get a fast repair when they make their pit stop.
Of course, still plenty of laps till we get to that stage. Probably expect those first stops to occur probably around lap 5. About 2 laps time. Of course, as we talked about earlier, this is a circuit that's all about the slipstream. You can stay in that draft and hang on, you'll do well. I can see Gamble only just hanging on James Scott. James Scott, of course, a second and a half up the road. Gamble got himself 1.1, 1.2 up the road from Ross. There's 1.5 from Rudd. O'Reilly's 3 seconds, so he would have lost the tow altogether. And then, of course, we then have Visma further 4 seconds back, and then Sharp, Stone Street, Lofthouse. So definitely a few boys struggling to hang on. And of course, if you're James Scott, you'd be going as hard as you can to try and break that toe.
Yeah, well, we know James is not a fan of fuel saving. He likes to get in there and go flat out. I was just watching the ebb and flow of the gap between James and Scott Gamble. It was down to 1.47 seconds on the big long straights, and then blows back out to 1.8 seconds when they get through the slower stuff. So Scotty Gamble really just hanging on here. Might only be one more lap and he might end up losing that toe from James Scott.
Let's go back here a little bit. Zach Glassbomb all the way up behind Tonkin. Steve under a lot of pressure. Glassbomb goes to the inside. Oh, slides that one in time at the chicane. Hobson into the pits. It's reading in the chat, the high bubbles to reference to Dave Baldock's new livery. And another big move coming back here. Glassbomb obviously with a slowdown, I think. Just let the two cars through. Griffiths and Shanahan. Griffiths, of course, without a rear wing as well.
Yeah, the slowdowns here are pretty brutal. Easy to pick up, and yeah, they punish you hard, and especially with these big long straights, a couple of the areas where you pick up a slowdown is coming onto the Mulsanne straight. If you pick up one there, you lose a chunk of time in no distance at all.
And of course, slightly damaged car. It would not be great down the Mulsanne straight either. You can see Griffiths being spat out the back there. Jump on board with Stone Street. Lofthouse looking to make a move here. Side by side action again. Stone Street yields. Bit of damage on the side of Troy's car as well. Great little exit. Come back the inside again for Stoney. Of course, great driver is Troy. Very hard worker. Getting a bit of coaching from Blake Warboys, who's not with us tonight because he's got the in-laws visiting. These two are having a cracking battle. Just while we're talking on that, Jordan Ross starting to make some inroads on Gamble. He's got himself into that lock up here where he's in that tow again.
Yeah, Jordan Ross has closed this gap right down. Just again watching that gap between Gamble and James Scott out in front. Just on the Mulsanne straight, Scotty Gamble's able to pick up about 0.4 of a second. So it just goes to show you what the tow's worth here, and that's just on one straight.
Yeah, it definitely makes a huge difference at this place. You've got to be smart about how you use that draft. Yes, we'll just let these guys sit for a minute. Just quickly jump on board with Stefan Lawrence. A battle here with his right sim racing teammate, Alan Dawson. Yeah, you see lads trying to hunt down Reg James in front of him. And going to go back up to Gamble. So at the moment, Brenton Hobson, the only man who's pitted, probably due to damage to his car from an incident earlier on.
Yeah, just looking at the chat there, John, he was actually black flagged from race control. So that was a drive group for Hobbo. So not sure if he did have that slowdown and tried to clear it on the race line, which is frowned upon by race control. So, which is what caught Dave Coleman out. I'm not sure, but That would be my guess, looking at the situation. So yeah, Hobbo was black flagged. It wasn't a pit stop.
Have to start calling in Fernando.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jordan Ross definitely tucking in here for the battle. Going to jump on with Tyler Laney, side by side